I hope you guys enjoyed that back day. By the name of the title of this video, you already know that I am biohacking my life. Oh, I feel like such a bro. So what you just saw is that I went in and had a DEXA scan done. If you don't know what a DEXA scan is, I'm gonna read you the description that came on my results. It says it is a 3-component model. It quantifies 3 primary metrics: bone, fat, and lean tissue. These components are then organized into additional metrics, which are depicted throughout the report. So it's total mass, fat mass, lean mass, BMC, which is bone mineral content, and then the amount of fat-free content that you have. I wanted to start here with my DEXA scan with this series because I wanted data to go off of where I could go in and have something that is one of the more accurate testing methodologies to have a good starting rate. The reason that I want to do this is because my scale at home actually has all of the details. It says your BMR, your BMI, your bone density, your fat, and it's not accurate. I know it's not accurate because it has always been around 10% lower than what it actually was. So at some point in my life when I was lifting, it said that I was at a 25% body fat. I've never been 25% of a body fat of anything. This series did not come out of nowhere. I, for the last year of my life, has been romanticizing a period of my life where I logically could look at it and know that I was not happy, but I am romanticizing the crap out of it. Like, I look back at that period of my life and I'm like, why do I want to go back? Why am I like grieving that this period of my life is over when I wasn't happy? And after obsessively thinking about this and kind of looking at it from every perspective, I realized that I wasn't happier, I was just healthier. And honestly, as I age, health is becoming more and more important to me. I can say that health has always been important to me, but not to the degree where I want to have strong bones, minimum, to where I can live a long, healthy life and know that I'm doing absolutely everything possible outside of like genetic factors to ensure that I live a comfortable life. I feel like it is so, not even I feel like, data proven. I just went into this DEXA scan and on the wall they had this giant graph that said where everyone kind of lands on the fat percentage in your body, and I was off the scale. I was not on the chart. And when he said that to me, I was like, okay, like I was kind of expecting that. I know where my body is. Like, I'm not unaware of my health level. But then he looked at me and said, this is where 60% of America is. 60% of America is not on the graph. And mind you, the end of the graph was not a positive place to be. It was definitely something that aligned with the reason that I'm going into this series of biohacking my life. In recent studies, even as early as this year, the brain has gone from thinking it was a sterile object to being something that has a flora. It has a bacteria. It has so much more impact on how everything functions. So if you think about if your gut flora is off, now we've learned that your brain has that same type of flora. You're more likely to experience depression, mental and mood instability, and a variety of major health deficits when your body is unhealthy. Something that I strive to be is very mentally and emotionally resilient, and I've found that I am too easily swayed by my surroundings as of recent, and I just want to feel my absolute healthiest inside and out, and I know that that starts with my habits and my actions, hence the biohacking. Now you might be asking, what the heck is biohacking? Biohacking is making small strategic changes to habits and behaviors to improve things like cognitive function and weight management. There are a million different descriptions on this because it is considered not thoroughly studied, although the individual markers of what biohacking is has been studied extensively. So if you zoom into the decisions or changes that you can make it has been studied, whereas biohacking as a whole is kind of a buzzword. That being said, biohacking isn't a checklist. It is dependent on what you decide to partake in. So those variables do make it a little more challenging. So for lack of a better description, it's just a conscious physical and mental control of various elements that influence your body. This can include what we eat, drink, smell, touch, hear, see, just basically everything that we interact with on a daily basis. Why biohack? Inherently, you'll experience enhanced cognitive functions, increased energy and libido, better moods and sleep patterns, fewer junk food cravings, and even better focus. Poor health can attribute to the brain fog or lack of productivity, and those things in itself are things that I want to combat, and I don't want to have the decisions that I'm making negatively hurt how I get to experience my life. I feel like everyone can say that, but no one wants to do the work. For the data and duration, I'll be tracking my weight measurements and the DEXA scan information that I just received. Talk about that in a second. I'm so excited about it. So in the next 3 months, I'm going to come back, take the DEXA scan again, and make sure that I have updated data to see if what I'm doing really is making that much of a difference. So you can track whether or not the things that I'm doing are a fad or if there's really something to it, and it won't just be me saying, I've lost weight and I feel better. We'll have the hard, cold facts. So my current challenges that caused me to want to do this in the first place. Restful sleep. I sleep like crap. There are some nights that I sleep really, really well. I'll sleep 9 to 10 hours, but it feels like it's from exhaustion. It doesn't feel like it's because of something that my body's just naturally doing. But most nights, I would say I wake up 1 to 2 times, and days like last night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and never fell back asleep. I'm struggling. I literally cannot wait to have this pre-workout. The second challenge that I have faced that caused me to want to biohack my life is my digestion. Up until I started drinking my gallon of water, I was not going to the bathroom. I would go maybe once every 2 to 3 days, and although that sounds insane, I used to go once every 6 to 9 days. So it has improved, but it hasn't always been like that, and I know that it is because of some health decisions like lack of movement, lack of water, lack of fiber. Another challenge is my post-exercise exhaustion. I have not felt true energy or endorphins from an exercise that I've loved and enjoyed in at least a year. In my day-to-day, between either the morning when I wake up or the afternoon when after I'm done exercising, is not helping my body recover. And the last challenge that I am facing is just weight management. I have been the same general weight for around 1.5 years, and that is not without efforts of trying. The most that I've lost is around 5 pounds, and then I immediately jump right back. It almost feels like I am being, and I know that that's from lack of consistency on my part. That being said, I'm always active, so there has to be another external factor, even just something as small as inflammation, lack of sleep, so on and so forth. So what I'm changing, I am taking advantage of high efficiency fixes that deliver the best payoff for my investment, which is usually my time. I'm not jumping on the quick fix train, so there are, I believe, 6 or 7 things that I will be focusing on and integrating into my daily habits to ensure that I am getting the best response. Everything I'm listing from this point forward are going to be things that I'm going to be integrating into my daily life and routine so that I can properly biohack my life. These are things that I chose to specifically help me and the things that I previously listed as challenges. I'd also like to mention that during this entire series, I will also be eating in a deficit and exercising by weightlifting progressive overload program 4 days a week. The first thing that I'm integrating is meditation / breath work, and the information that I'm about to read to you is from the National Library of Medicine. Study on meditation has been documented through an MRI where it looks through different types of brain changes and improved several brain functions. Several benefits: improve things such as immune system, inflammatory processes by decreasing, excuse my inability to read these vocab words, cytokine, appropriate telomere shortening also has helped healthy aging. Regarding physical health, meditation has been beneficial in various multifactorial diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and fibromyalgia. It has also helped bring down blood cholesterol levels and increased high density lipoprotein levels. Improvement is also being seen in systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Mental health is another aspect influenced by meditation, and as positive emotion brought about by meditation helps address various mental problems like social anxiety disorders, PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Overall, it has these impact in these health areas. However, the magnitude of the effect is not yet clear. These things have been tested and studied to show that there are improvements. Therefore, I'm going to be applying it just to hopefully help with any type of social anxiety, PTSD, inflammation, and immunity. Second thing that I'm going to be incorporating into my daily habits is going to be my daily movement. Now, this isn't just going to be exercising or killing myself every day. It's just having intentional movement every single day. The information that I am reiterating from daily movement has been published by Harvard Health. Daily movement is super important. Sitting for long, uninterrupted periods of time may leave you more prone to cardiovascular problems. So I think a lot of people look at cardio as a cardiovascular tool and less of the fact that movement in this way in general can help your cardiovascular, and not doing it is detrimental to your cardiovascular health. So the more you sit, the more your large muscles are not using glucose, the body's main energy source. Uninterrupted sitting can cause blood sugar levels to rise, triggering a release of insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar. This is from Dr. Hisham Scali. The resulting insulin resistance promotes inflammation, a key player that helps and aids to build up in fatty plaque inside arteries. So just overall rolling negative impacts to sedentary lifestyles. And then these facts and little quotes really jarred me. More than 2,600 people ages 60 and older reported that their typical sitting habits, including weekdays and weekends, were following for 9 years. So this data study that I'm about to repeat from you was followed for 9 years. Those who sat for an average of about 3 hours a day were 33% less likely to die of a cardiovascular disease during a follow-up period than people who sat for an average of 7 hours a day. Among 8,000 people followed for over 10 years who did light activity instead of sitting for 30 minutes a day had 17% lower risk of dying in that period, even if they split it up that half hour into periods as brief as a minute each. So what does that mean? They got up or did some type of movement for a minute each 30 times a day, and it caused a 17% decreased rate of mortality. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's so scary. And more than 5,600 women followed for 5 years, reducing sedentary time by 1 hour per day was linked to a 26% lower risk of heart disease. Again, the hour of non-sedentary time didn't have to occur all at once. Short, light intensity interruptions to sitting were just as effective. I think the word intensity can really scare people, but to kind of give you a general idea of what they mean by intensity, they mean just doing body weight squats for a minute. The third thing that I'm going to be integrating into my daily habits is hot and cold therapy. The details I'm reading for the hot and cold therapy section are from UCLA Health and the National Library of Medicine. Hot and cold therapy offers various benefits for pain management, injury recovery, and overall well-being. Heat helps relaxes muscles, increase blood flow, and improve flexibility, while cold reduces inflammation, numbs pain, and decreases swelling. So alternating between the two can enhance circulation and improve joint mobility, which is just super important in all facets of life. Cold exposure has several benefits, including bolstering your immunity to common colds. I'll take it. Combating symptoms of depression, improved circulation, increased metabolism, reduced inflammation, and relieves localized pain. Heat therapy, on the other hand, regular or frequent saunas have been reported to reduce the risk of diseases such as hypertension, cardiovascular disease, sudden cardiac death, stroke, dementia, all-cause mortality, lung diseases, psychic disorders, and improve the severity of musculoskeletal disorders such as osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia. Lung diseases as well, such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, and COPD. The benefit effects of passive heat therapies may be also linked to anti-inflammatory, cytoprotective, and antioxidants properties, and synergistic effects on circulatory, cardiovascular, and immune function. So as you're seeing a pattern here, all of these would severely help with immune function. The fourth thing I'm going to be focusing on is going to be making sure that I am having at minimum 20 grams of fiber per day. So why is fiber important? A high fiber diet appears to reduce the risk of developing various conditions, including heart disease, diabetes, constipation, and colon cancer. Current dietary guidelines for Americans suggest that people aged 2 or older get 14 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories in a diet. That's quoted from Mayo Clinic. If you're unsure of your caloric intake, which a lot of people are, numbers that are safe to follow are women, typically adult women should receive 22 to 28 grams of fiber per day, and men should have 28 to 34. The current average intake among adults in the United States is less than half. We are getting less than half of the amount of fiber we're supposed to have every day. What? Let's just go back and listen to when I said that I never go to the bathroom. Oh yeah. The fifth thing that I am going to be implementing is having 150 grams of protein or more per day. Protein is vital for good health, and the body needs it to build hair, blood, and connective tissue. I think when people hear protein, they think of like gym bros saying that you need protein to build muscle, which yes, true. It also is so integral to how your body functions. The amount of protein that the human body requires daily is dependent on many conditions, so make sure that you look into or talk to a medical professional if you are unaware of how to do this. But I will go into some basic rules of thumb that I also just heard from my DEXA scan medical professional a little more accessibly without having to talk to a medical professional. The amount of protein that the human body requires daily is dependent on many conditions, including overall energy intake, growth of the individual, and physical activity level. It is often estimated based on body weight as a percentage of total caloric intake. Again, that's a variable that is kind of wide because dependent on height, age, activity level, your caloric intake is going to be different, or it can even be higher than it needs to be, lower than it needs to be, etc. Typically, they would like it to be around 35% of your caloric intake, or based on age alone. 0.8 grams of per body weight that you have is commonly cited recommended by dietary allowance. This is quoted by RDA. This value is the minimum recommended value to maintain basic nutritional requirements, but consuming more protein up to a certain point is also beneficial dependent on the sources of protein. So the recommended range of protein to take is between 0.8 and 1.8 grams of body weight, dependent on many factors listed. People that are highly active or who wish to build more muscle should generally consume more protein. So the 0.8 is also what I just learned is dependent on lean muscle mass. So where I weigh 202 pounds right now, my lean muscle mass is 107.7 pounds. So about half of me is lean muscle mass. That being said, I'm not eating 202 grams of protein. I'm having anywhere between 155 and 165 grams of protein per day. And this is because you do 1.5 times the amount of your lean muscle mass. If you don't have the ability or access to take a DEXA scan, typically they just recommend doing 0.8 times how much you weigh so that you're not consuming too much protein. I do want to have a disclaimer that I have worked out pretty intensely for around 5 to 6 years of weightlifting. I'll go into this further with my DEXA scan results, but my bone density and my lean muscle mass are off the charts good, and it is because I've had the resistance training built up. And so where I have 107.7 pounds of lean muscle mass, that isn't going to be the same for just any body. Not anybody, any body. So keep that in mind. Don't use me as a starting scale. The sixth thing that I'm going to be integrating into my life is just going outside. Literally go touch grass. Everything I'm reading now is from the American Psychology Association. Exposure to nature has been linked to a host of benefits, including improved attention, lower stress, better mood, reduced risk of psychiatric disorders. Why was that so hard to say? And even upticks of empathy and cooperation. Just being a generally better person. Experiments have found that being exposed to natural environments includes working memory, cognitive flexibility, and attention control. It is also said to increase levels of creativity, vitamin D, and can be socially beneficial even in spaces where direct contact is not made. So going outside on a walk where there's like a popular park and a lot of people are around can do the same for our body and our our nervous system of being social as, say, going and hanging out with one of your friends one-on-one. So if you're feeling a little introverted or you just don't have the energy, being in a social space will help you psychologically. The last thing that I am going to be biohacking in my life is my water intake. There are a ton of benefits to drinking water, such as weight loss, kidney health, urinary tract infection prevention, temperature regulation, joint lubrication, digestion, overall hydration, energy, and cognitive functions. So water deficiency is the primary cause of many diseases. Guys, I'm obsessed with the data behind water. The girls that I train are probably so over me saying it. Chronic pain, digestive distress, migraines, depression, all attribute to at least partly a lack of cellular hydration. Therefore, if you are on a cellular level dehydrated, you are going to be negatively impacted in chronic pain, digestive distress, migraines, and depression. The body's signals for hydration, like thirst, unfortunately, are not as reliable as you might hope. So what that means is like the feeling when you're like, oh, I'm feeling dehydrated or I feel thirsty. That is the last line of defense. I'm about to blow your mind. Thirst often arrives after dehydration has already kicked in. So your body's already giving up. This lag in our physiological alert system means that we're routinely operating at less than optimal hydration levels. A fact underscored by findings of the Centers of Disease Control, which indicate a stark underconsumption of water among the majority of people. So something that I read in Super Life by Darren Olin is actually, I'm gonna say it in layman's terms just because when I explain it this way to people, it clicks pretty quickly, so I have to assume that it's being communicated in a way that's helpful. Your organs need water, right? I think we all know that, but I don't think we know to the extent. Kidneys, livers, heart, everything in your body, water gets dispersed. We should be having anywhere from 3 to 4 liters per day. I have a gallon because I am incredibly active and it is less for women as it is men. For example, also as you age, it does go down as well. But basically, water gets taken to all of these different organs. If your brain is thirsty, your brain needs water, it will take the water from your kidney. It'll take the water from your liver. The brain is like the god of the body. It will take all of the water from all your other organs first, so that it is in better health. This means that when it no longer has water to take from, then your brain is like, we have to cue the human, hey, I'm thirsty. And so when you feel that thirsty cue, your body is in severe dehydration. You should never feel thirsty. A common thing that I hear and I always think is insane is that you should be able to work out and not need water. Isn't me. Hence the gallon. But that's my little spiel. I'm gonna go to the gym really quick and then we are going to read my DEXA scan once I get home and I eat some lunch. I'm so excited. This is gonna be a really fun series. Hi, so it's been 24 hours since I got my DEXA scan. I made it my entire personality yesterday. I could not shut up about it. I did want to still go over it with you guys. If you follow my other social media channels, you did kind of see a breakdown of everything, but this one is obviously, I'm gonna give you more in-depth, read the descriptions for what the numbers are, so that you guys have all the information that I have. So I'm not withholding anything, and I am gonna put you like right here. So I will actually like put the paper up that I'm reading right here. So yeah, you can reference it. First one says body composition analysis. It's the BCA. So it says the measured date was April 12th. Body fat percentage, total body fat percentage is 43.9%. Total mass is 202 pounds. My fat mass, 88.7 pounds. And my lean mass, aka muscle mass, is 107.7 pounds. My BMC in pounds is 5.7, and my fat-free body weight is 113 pounds, 113.4 pounds. The body composition history just shows all the information I just gave you. This is just going to be docked every time I go in. So the next time it's going to look more like a graph. That is the objective. The next thing we're gonna go over is the regional body composition analysis. That's at the bottom of this page. And it says the regional body composition report below shows the 5 key regions of your body, including arms, legs, trunk, android, and gynoid. So gynoid is the hip region. He explained this as like hip but thighs, where women are more likely to hold fat. And then the android region is more abdomen, here to here though. Something he told me as a disclaimer while I was getting the DEXA scan done was that like most health science, why can't I say the word most? Like most health sciences, it doesn't account for women in the same way. It's more geared towards men, and so it doesn't have a way of saying that like the fat in my chest is any different than the fat in my stomach. So it just says like my abdomen in general, you'll see that I have a lot of weight there, but I also have a pretty busty chest, which yes, it will go down when I lose weight, but not that much. So, and I know this from past experience, and so as much as I would love for the girls to go away, I know I'm the oddball out here, they are there. So the weight that I'm gonna be talking about in my Android section, aka my abdomen, my trunk, it does include my breast. So for the arms, I have 44.4% of fat, which I'm not surprised. I feel like I hold so much fat in my arms. They've always been an area that I'm pretty insecure about. Even when they were like twigs, they were just trunks, right? Like it's always been just a cylinder and very little muscle definition. I've never had a good tricep. It could be, but I've never had the genetics for it to show too well. Total mass of my arms is 20.5 pounds. Fat mass is 9.1 pounds. Lean mass is 10.8 pounds. And my fat-free arms are 11.4 pounds. Yikes, you know? My legs are 44.1% fat, which again, makes sense to me, not surprising to me. Total mass is 77.4 pounds, which I am mostly leg. I used to think I was the most proportionate person ever, and I'm not. So 44% of my fat and it being 77 pounds, just like waist down, does not surprise me one bit. Fat mass is 34.1 pounds. Lean mass is 41.1 pounds. And then my fat-free legs would be 43.2, which is insane. That's like never gonna happen. The trunk, like I said, is gonna be this area. 46.2% total fat, 94 total mass. So like majority of it is centered for me, which is insane. I've always had an hourglass figure, so the fact that I am apple holding my weight is crazy to me. The fat mass is 43.4 pounds, which, oh my God, I do have a big back. I know the whole big back term is like popular right now as almost like an insult or like saying you eat too much. I like physically, genetically have a large back. I have so much muscle in my back. It's always been the strongest part of my body, even to my legs. I can work up my back muscle like it's my job. When I have a lower body fat percentage, my back is shredded. Lean mass is 48.9 pounds. Again, like literally more than my legs. The fat-free mass is 50.6. So if you think about that, like fat-free, 2 pound difference, not even, between fat-free and just my muscle. Android, 50.9%. Total mass, 15.4 pounds. 7.8 pounds is fat. Lean mass is 7.5, so pretty even. And then fat-free is 7.6. Gynoid, which is again gonna be my hips, glutes area, is going to be 46.4% total fat, 34.4 total mass. Fat mass is 15.9, honestly not that bad. Lean mass is 17.8. That's so exciting to me. You don't even understand. I, in the name of feminism, did not work my glutes for like 2 years. It used to make me so mad when I was in the gym and a guy would walk up to me and be like, oh, you're not hitting legs? Or like if I was hitting legs, they'd be like, oh, legs, like they were mocking me for hitting legs. And that really raged the feminist in me. And I was like, you know what? You're never gonna see me working my glutes, because guys love to make fun of you for something that they literally stare at. Should not have done that, but I have been working on it. So seeing 17 pounds in my hip glute areas, pretty cool. Next page. This goes over my VAT score, which is visceral adipose tissue. I'm gonna read to you what this is. The Android region is that of the abdomen, and often the body type with increased fat in this area is described as apple-shaped. Gynoid region is that around the hips and thighs, and often the body type increased with this fat area is called pear-shaped. Understanding where fat is stored in the body is recognized as an important predictor of the potential health risks of obesity. CoreScan estimates the VAT score and SAP content within the Android region, so subcutaneous versus visceral. Subcutaneous is what people would consider to be something like on the outside. So when you see cellulite, for example, start to go away when you lose weight, that would be like subcutaneous fat. A specific type of fat that is associated with several types of metabolic diseases such as obesity, metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. CoreScan results have been validated calculated for adults and a BMI range of etc. It shows that my VAT score is actually very good, which this shocked me, but I was also really excited because it does mean in a general sense that I'm not in a place of fear with my fat levels. Yes, they're unhealthy. Yes, I need to work on them. Yes, that was the whole point of me doing this, but I knew that going in. I knew that I was holding on to a lot of fat and that I had a lot of fat to lose, but not having this level of fat and this type of fat to lose is really good news. Am I rhyming? The next one I was so freaking excited about, because if you don't know, resistance training is suggested and offered for people that are older. It just helps with bone density, not having so many like fractures, breaks, anything like really bone issues that you experience, because as you age, after 30 for women, your bone density starts to decrease. Same with your muscle tissue. It's just harder to maintain these things, and resistance training is like the #1 form of activity prescribed to help these types of things and to promote ease of longevity. And I say ease of longevity because it's not necessarily mortality related as much as it is quality of life. And I really went into this wanting to be my healthiest self, so knowing that the last 5 to 6 years I've been spending weight training is now shown in my bone density scan, because I'm like above average. So where it shows how he explained it to me was where the teal section is, that would be considered really good. So the fact that I'm like popping up above it, I felt so good about this score. And again, it's just like general health, and the point of working out being longevity. I was pretty hyped to see these numbers. You'll also see to the left of my scan, the actual scan itself. And this is where you'll see on the left where the little like black, gray, and white figure is. That is my skeletal system. And then on the right is all of my muscle and fat. So it's kind of funny for me to look at this because visually it looks like the most muscular version of me is wearing a fat suit. Like literally. It is crazy to see the fat on my sides. I knew that I was carrying my weight there, but it's just insane to see it. Also, please look at my calves. Imagine there wasn't fat there. I would have photographed calves. I don't even know how that happened. I don't really walk that much, and there's such minimal fat on my calves. To know that is just really mind-boggling to me. I'm gonna read you the little excerpt about bone density. It says, bone density is critically important to our overall health and physical capability. Good holistic nutrition is essential to maximizing peak bone mass, which is typically achieved between your mid and late 30s. Hey yo, I'm 29. That means I have time. We all have time. Then as we continue to age, our bones start to naturally deteriorate through a process called fibrosis, where bone structure slowly converts to fibrous tissue. The next page, 4 out of 5, is just showing the places in which I carry weight in my body. So I'm gonna put that photo a little bit blown up so you can see it. And the last page is just showing different regions of my body changed over time. So what this page is going to show me when I come back is that it's going to have my new body scan next to it, so I can see a side by side, which I'm so excited about. I asked while I was sitting there, I was like, please tell me you do this side by side and I can have graphs and stuff to reference, because my overall goal here sounds so stereotypical, but I want to increase my muscle mass. I want to decrease my fat by a significant amount. I want to feel better, lighter, happier, healthier. And I know that the state of my body is probably not helping a lot of different functions that I previously mentioned as to why I am paying close attention to how I work with the biohack markers that I'm going to be applying to my life. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I love making this type of content. I am such a geek for data and further information and health studies. So if you have any questions or you have something that you want to refer or want me to look further into and explain for you, I'm more than happy to do so. Just leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss my videos. I post twice a week, and I'm gonna be documenting this whole series as I actively try to biohack my life. Thanks for watching. Till next time.